If I'm live, I know I'm live. I'm trying to get the chat box up because I can't see anything here. I can't see anyone is here because my Streamlabs went down. Oh my gosh, and I had to reinstall it. I'm just going to have to pop the chat out of YouTube for right now. I don't remember what I did the last time this happened. Oh yeah, you are there. Okay, so let me just pop the chat out. Hold on so I can see that. Pop out the chat. Okay, now I've got that chat. All right, let me see who's here. Hi, Flower Girl, Mandy Hall, Alethea, Carrie Lynn, CYNT, Mary Mick, Jessica, Chris, Stephanie, SN, Whisper to Me, Your Best Friend, Judy, Evie, L. Jackson, Sea Glass and Shells, SN, Lonnie, To Scooter, KS. No, I'm not muted anymore. Deb on the Move, Laura, Sandy L. Hi, Jessica. Okay, Wheat. What is that? Orky Wheat. First time here, Orky Wheat. Randy, Debbie J. Hey, Debbie, is it the first time here? Carla. Oh, good, Carla. Hi, J Bells. Crystal, Stephanie, Deborah, Leah, Teresa, Mona, Muka, Janelle, hi, Nana Jules, hello, Nora, Jokano, Wildlife, Helen, Sakura Girl, Cindy Lou, who? Is it your first time here? Rise Up, Stephanie, Kathy. Oh no. Kathy, you are kidding me. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you today and your son. Oh my gosh, I will definitely be praying for him. I'll say I'm starting right now. Oh my gosh, what's going on? What are they telling you? Hi, Jenny. Hi, Save Robbie. Hi, Miss April. Hi, Bella. Hey, Hey, Laura. Hi, the Bryan clan. French fry? Hello. Hey, Bella Mac. Hi, Veggie Girl. I don't know if I missed anyone else. I'm really shocked. Kathy, what's going on? What are they telling you? Why is he getting so sick like this? Hey, your best friend. Hi, Mert. Hey, Chris. Hey, Lexi. Hey, Deb on the Move. Hi, Hennessy. Sepsis. I know a little boy that had a bike accident, and he got sepsis, and they told his mother to say goodbye and everything, and she said, no, I'm not going to do it. And he made it. He made it after they told her there was no chance. The little boy made it. So There is hope, yeah. And there are people that make it back from sepsis. What is his condition now? You were in the hospital with sepsis? I don't know. Sepsis shock? Hi, Diana. He's on life support. Okay, but so was this other little boy, and he made it. I am one that made it through sepsis. It's a battle. Good, Chris. Give Kathy some hope here. You survived it too, Cindy Lou Who? Your niece was in a wicked accident and got that. We all rushed there. They said she was going to pass, but she made it. I pray for a complete restoration of your son. Yeah, Kathy. Randy's mom lived through that. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sonia. Is Kathy still on? Your brother survived, Jenny. Sometimes they had to put him on dialysis. Is Kathy still on? What happened in the Bryan clan? You had a loss too? Who? Sepsis, acute renal failure, and you're fine now. Well, not fine, but alive. Well, that's good, Sassy. Yeah, CYN10 says, let's all pray for both her and her son. Please pray silently now. The Bryan clan, what, something happened to your girlfriend? She passed away? I'm sorry to hear that. Prayers for you guys. Were you on life support, Aletha? Did you have to be put on life support? You saw that often, where they had to be put on life support, Jenny? He went to Turks and Caicos. He got home, and within 24 hours, he had pneumonia. And then he went into sepsis, and he was transferred to another hospital the last time. And now she says he's on life support. He's only 31. Most were intubated? Okay. Hey, Debbie Loving Babes. Hi, Sarah. So I don't know if Kathy's still on. You had sepsis in May. You're still recovering. Please don't give up. You're still on IV antibiotics every day? Good morning, Casbat. Hi, Ariel Mama. Hi, Jeannie. Your daughter was on life support, had the ECMO machine, and she recovered? Oh, she must have just popped in? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I was just thinking about him earlier. Excuse me a second. They won't treat it there? Wow. Sister-in-law had sepsis. She's fine now? Okay. Wow. Yeah, Debbie, yeah, that's shocking. Oh, thanks, Teresa. Hi, Margie. Hey, Jigsaw Puzzler. I just thought of you today, too. Yeah, it definitely does, SN. Give her hope, yeah. Thanks, Brenda. The lake was a kind of quiet and kind of cool. Very cool, too cool for me. Hey, Jane. The People's Team for Justice. Thanks. The People's Team for Justice. Sad Girl Moody? Your infection was 1 year into chemo for breast. So, oh wow. Scary. Yeah, definitely, Jenny. Hi, Sad Girl Moody. I've never seen you here. Are you new? Hi, Linda. Hey, Deanna. Deanna B? You were with the Chris Watts case? Deanna, you're not Deanna with the flying squirrels. She had a death in the family, Lisa H. last time, and her mother was sick with pneumonia. I didn't think so, Deanna. Your daughter had Legionnaires that led to sepsis 3 weeks in an induced coma on life support, fully recovered 3 years later. Well, that's a good story for Kathy to hear. Money is only used to treat newcomers. Your dad wasn't treated. What do you mean he wasn't treated? That's what that universal health care? I don't know. It's scary. I can't see. Hold on a minute. I don't know why. Oh, I know. Maybe. Hold on a second. I don't like this pop-out chat because. Hold on a minute. I'm not seeing things. Why can't I see? I do not like this. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna go, let me see. My hair is driving me crazy. Now I have to look over here. Okay, I'm not even going to look at that. I'm just going to look at this. Heat wave? Yeah, I wish we had a heat wave. You're thinking Legionnaires for many of the pneumonia, especially from traveling. Did you hear that, Kathy? She said it might be Legionnaires. Wow, 111, Ginny? What part of California? All right, thank you, the People's Team for Justice. It's hot every place. Huh. 3-week hot down. Oh, tortoise hatching? Happy wife? I'm going back to sleep. Okay, good night. Near Sacramento, okay. Your first kid, the 18-year-old, is starting college at the end of August. Just got his car today. Losing your mind. Really, you're losing your mind? Why? Is he going far away? Oh, you're welcome, Alethea. I think we've got a new person in Sasu1 something. Okay. It's New Jersey. Oh, okay. Well, you mean just hard because they're still going to be home, right? So it's not that it's just hard. Yeah. I think it's harder when it's like your last one, right? Don't you think so? I don't know. I've never done that yet, but I imagine it would be. You have to let him go. But didn't he drive before? He didn't drive before? I don't know. I'm trying, like, my daughter was my oldest and the first to go, but she had been driving and stuff, and then she went away. But I was dealing with so much. I mean, I had just lost my mother. My father was brokenhearted without her. I had so much going on in my life then. He's a brand new a brand new driver. Yeah, that's not fun, right? Yeah, that's scary. That the driving is scary. Yeah. Your last child to leave was devastating. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would, I mean, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that too. Like my girlfriend in Canada, she had to wait so long to get this appointment for her daughter. It's the other drivers. Your daughter got a truck for high school graduation, but we did not allow her to take it to college. Don't get me started on those subjects. You had a friend who has cried as each one has flown her nest. Her youngest is a senior this year. Oh, really? I'm sorry, I think some of those pictures are fake, really. I'm not talking about like the youngest ones. I'm talking like just because there are some people I know who fake that just because they think that that's what they should be doing. My sister has both daughters out of the house and she travels to see them as much as she can. Every event, and the girl wears yeah, maybe, yeah. Some people think like, oh, it means I'm a better mother or something. Oh, Jeanette, the ones that like they're crying over, and believe me, I cry a lot too, but like they were like bawling and bawling and bawling when their kids go to school or something like that. I can see feeling bittersweet, stuff like that, but like the hysterical crying. She laughs at herself with us, so she knows it's a bit much. She just can't help but cry. Yeah, I know. You feel free when your daughter. So, I was having a lot of difficulty uploading a video that I made, and it's an ASMR video, but it's long and it's driving me absolutely insane. That's why I'm late coming on and everything. Oh my gosh, it says it's done. Now I'm going to load it private to see if it has sound. Let me just put that on because it's going to probably take all night. The computer's been driving me nuts. Then we had thunder and lightning storms, really bad. I didn't want to come on during that because I know that we would be buffering and stuff because the electricity was going in and out. And what else? Let me just put this on. Here. And then I went to go on, my Streamlabs was gone. Well, I think I did some cleanup on my computer and I was transferring it somewhere and didn't recognize, so I had to download it. That's why I have no chat. Can't, I believe it's that one. Okay. I'm just going to upload this to private to make sure that sound and everything is good. Let that go while we're on. Okay. My blood pressure is still low. It's low. Anemia feels like it's getting better, but I'm still winded if I try to do too much. Oh, that happens, Jigsaw. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you ever see Facebook on the first day of school and there's mothers that are like hysterical heaving, okay, it's different. Like I said, a bittersweet feeling, a couple tears, but there's stuff that maybe you don't know anyone like that puts it on. But yeah, that was your only one though, Sharon. You know what I mean? So, but I'm saying there's some that are putting it like, okay, one of my friends, oh, she like can't stand for school to start. I can't stand. I can't wait to get these kids out of the house. And then the first day of school, she's like, she's like, I was bawling. Like, and I'm just like, you weren't bawling. And I know she wasn't, okay? She was having like mimosas, okay? But it's like, it's because it's what she should say, I think. She says it. Oh, of course, Muka. I think we all will, right? I think they are generally lonelier in their marriage and they have nothing else. But yeah, maybe that's true. I don't know. I just don't see the hysterics of it. I followed the bus to school. I went in, when most of them first started kindergarten, went into the school and stuff, took pictures. Luke was already in the pre-K, so I just let him go on the bus with the kids. And I mean, it's like bittersweet, but it's not like hysterical heaving for me. I mean, oh, okay, well, see you, yeah. See, when my daughter went to college, my mother had just died. So I was in a tailspin from that. Everything was like a whirlwind. Hey, Tico. So, The hysterics in public are for attention. I cried in my car. You want to see some hysterical heaving? Look at Facebook on the first day of school. And then they have that other one. They have the other mom that's like high-fiving everybody after she gets the kids on the bus. Exactly, Melly Mel. I feel the same way. And I'm like a perfectionist, so I have to get the signs. And the end of school this year, because Ethan had a stepping up ceremony, last day of school, I got their pictures and stuff, but I forgot with the signs and the driveway. Like, so I'm going to have to Photoshop them into the, and I haven't done it yet. I'm just going to Photoshop some signs in their hands. At least I got the picture of the last day of school, but I always do it exactly the same way. Not this year. This ceremony really screwed me up. Yeah, I don't think I really, like bittersweet, and I followed the bus and everything, but I was happy for, happy for them that they were moving on, and not that they were growing up, but that I don't know. But I've never had my last one go to college yet. My last one is still here. He's little. That might affect me very much. Probably will. Unless I've got a bunch of little ones from my older kids. I don't know. Yeah, SN. He was what? I only had one that was like kicking, and that was my first son. Oh my gosh, I remember one day I went in and he had like the worst teacher, and he was like clinging to my leg, and she just grabbed him off me and she goes like this, go, go. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's how I had to leave. A little bit Tico. My blood pressure is still low, a little anemic, and I'll be better next week when everything is handled. You despise everything. You want to keep them under my wing forever. Yeah, but your mother has 11. Wow. You work full time when your kids were little, so you had to get up at the crack of dawn, had to get ready. Yeah. And then, wow, that's a lot, Sassy. No, Alethea, I just take supplements. Your 18-year-old wants to go in Texas. Why can't he stay in Georgia? Yeah, Diana, I've got a... Thanks, Tico. I do. I have V. I have lots of supplements that I'm taking, but no, I was anemic, and because I went off my iron, like I wasn't taking it like I should, and then had issues, and I could feel the anemia before that, and then last night I thought I was going to pass out, and my blood pressure was very, very low. I almost went to the hospital. I've let you down all week, but I could call in today. Oh, can you call in now? Okay, I'll give you, good. I'll give you the number, hang on. Okay, I just have to email. I hope I got the right clear again. All right, I sent it. Did you call in the other day? Because remember I said I hope I have the right clear? But then you didn't call in, right? All right, I'm going to try to go back to Streamlabs. And where is the pop-out chat? Oh, I think I popped it back in. All right, let me try to pop it out again. I hate the pop-out chat because it doesn't... Okay, let me see here. Okay. I don't know why this happened last time. Let's see here. Okay. No, Coco. I mean, no. I take supplements for it. It is if I don't. Yeah. You made some great comments. Oh my gosh, my hair is driving me out of my mind. Maybe they're trolling, Sharon. I think that's kind of what it is because they've said it like 1,000 times. So if that is, they're trolling. I thought so before when they would not stop saying it. Where did you buy it from, Ariel? I hope you didn't buy it on Amazon or eBay because you probably paid 4 times the price. You should have asked me. I could have hooked you up with where you can buy it for the regular price. If you buy it, that's people selling it. That shouldn't be. Did you open up a membership, shopping membership? Let me know because if you didn't, then you probably paid like 4 times the price. Okay, just. Yeah, you should cancel it. I can send you the information. I guarantee you. Let me know what you paid for what, and I'll tell you what the regular price is. They're not even supposed to be doing it, but they gouge. They buy the vitamins and they sell them on Amazon and stuff, and people buy them and they gouge the heck out of them. Send me an email with which ones you got, and I'll tell you the regular price, and you'll probably be pretty shocked. You're a little late, random guy. When I talk to her, says you can't. Okay, I'll probably get to it by tomorrow. I'll give you the price. Let me know which one you got. The vitamins that I take, the ones we talked about, well, I take the Total Health, but there's a lot of different kinds. You can email me if you want to know about the vitamins. But oh, look, Sharon, I got my cat. It's on my shirt, Sharon. Yep. Okay, Diana. But, Bella Mac is calling in, right? Anyway, I've been doing some reading in this because I had to wait. But I watched actually Mindhunter last night when I had low blood pressure and I was relaxing. And I was doing some coloring. I don't know how you people do that coloring. It's not working out so well for me. But anyway, I was reading about the Joan D'Alessandro case, and then he goes into Kemper, that he is his first interview in that Mindhunter show, right? Oh, she needed about 10 minutes? Okay, so then I'll talk about this. So, who watches Mindhunter? You watch Mindhunter? Okay. Well, I hadn't watched Mindhunter. I kept getting Mindhunter mixed up with the one about the Unabomber. What is that one called? I thought that was Mindhunter. What was that? What is that one called? You get more. Yeah, I thought it was going to be nice. It wasn't. And I forgot to tell Amazon. I got to write a note here because the fabric markers I ordered they're all crap. They're all like leaking, or some of them are dry. I'm going to write that down. Amazon. Okay, and I will tell you something. The Prismacolor Softcore pencils, I'll tell you which ones are exactly like them, because I have both, and I tried them both, is the Duo Color, what is the one? Prang. They are exactly like the Prismacolor. Exactly. They might even be a little better, to tell you the truth. Okay, and still, like, it's like there's not enough colors. They dull so fast. I don't know. I wasn't feeling the love. Good, I had no clue. What? Oh, did somebody answer me on that one? Oh, Manhunt. See? That's what. Thank you. Manhunt. All right. That's why I got confused. And every time somebody would say, "Did you watch Mindhunter?" I'm like, "Yeah, I watched it. The one with the Unabomber." Uh-oh. That was scary. We flashed for a minute. Hello?
Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
Okay. Hold on. I gotta lower my volume a little bit. Hang on. That scared me.
You can hear David.
Okay. All right. Whew. Okay. So now let me see something. Are you on camera or not?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just audio.
Okay. No, I wanted to know because otherwise I'm wondering. I don't see another box, but somehow this is set up so like I don't know. Let me see. Speaker. It's on speaker view, but it's not really. No. How come it's not showing? When I go to gallery view, it's all weird now. It doesn't. Okay. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling better. What time is it there?
It is almost 7:30 a.m.
Are you off today?
I'm working from home, so I thought I've got a quick half hour before I start my day. So I've been wanting to call in all week.
Right.
But this time I've already left for work. I'm an early bird.
Okay, so I'm very confused about this case. Okay, first of all, like I'm watching the documentary, and then next thing I know, it's over. It's like,
Yeah.
What happened? Hey, wait, like it just seemed like it ended abruptly. Then I tried to watch it again, and then so I don't get like what's going on with this case.
So what I've found is I've been sort of watching this for a good year or so. And what I've found is I've had to watch a lot of various different documentaries to piece together the whole, well, what I consider the whole piece of the missing puzzles, because I find the documentaries leave out a lot of information and actual witness accounts. And I'm not sure why that's the case. I think they can only squeeze so much in as well, because there is so much to the story. So yeah, I appreciated you like looking into the case and then obviously doing some videos about it, because it's been one of those cases that for me I've just been intrigued by, because there seems so many mysterious and weird things going on. And it's really just bizarre. And I personally, my viewpoint after looking at everything is I'm not convinced that it was a suicide. Personally, I definitely think the brother has had some involvement in it. Before they brought the civil suit, there was actually a lot more footage and interview coverage outside the courthouse with the Shacknais, the brothers. And obviously the boyfriend was in the hospital the whole time. So I don't think he had anything to do with it, like physically. But
did you ever see him broken up? Did they ever show you, like, was he ever broken up about it?
I personally think when you watch some of the footage, he's just so numb and broken up about his son.
Right? Yeah, how could you tell, right, who he's upset about, right?
Maybe he just didn't have mental capacity to deal with yet another tragedy. And obviously he's had so much Botox and work done to his face, it is actually very difficult to gauge his emotions. But there's a whole heap of things that when they brought the civil suit to trial, obviously they had a jury, and when they went to deliberate, there were a few pieces of key evidence that were never investigated or entered into evidence. that the jury actually asked the judge about, and the judge made the ruling that whatever's been brought as evidence, that's what you need to go on. There'll be no new evidence brought in. And a couple of those things were latex gloves that were found in the crawl space somewhere in the house.
Mm-hmm.
There were also women's underwear found in a garbage bag in the guest house, which is where the brother was residing for those few days. There was something else that someone on the home computer, and they can't verify who it was, did a search for like Asian bondage porn, something like that. Obviously, because there's multiple people in the home, they couldn't tell who, looked that up.
Right.
The brother's recount of the night before he found Rebecca hanging, supposedly.
He was pleasuring himself to the, right? It wasn't.
He said he had an Ambien and was listening to it and just went to sleep. But then there's neighbors who actually, I can't remember if it was the next day when they told the police or if they actually called the police and said they heard loud music and shouting and a woman screaming in the early hours. And that was never really looked into. So a lot of things, they've either looked into it and we've just not been privy to it. But at the time, it seemed like, all the evidence, when I say at the time, I mean like a good year ago, 2 years ago, everything was sort of out in the open because it's, been investigated and covered by the media. Another, I know I'm just like rambling, all these, another thing and another thing and another thing. But some of the first people on the scene, apart from the paramedics, were actually the Shatner's attorney, apparently a long-time family friend. And when he was asked who he was representing, he said no comment. And so the question is...
Well, he could just have been... most attorneys are just like on guard anyway, right? So no comment.
Someone made a phone call. And what was he doing there when literally just the medical examiner actually couldn't get there for a good 12 or 13 hours, and they actually quite disgustingly left her body out in full view on the lawn for 12 hours. The neighbours were getting all their passers-by on the street to come have a look, and, Gork had heard there were helicopters flying overhead. Sort of not a lot of respect there, which is kind of sad. They could have put a tarp or something or a blanket or something over her. There's so many weird things, like when they actually had a criminologist student do a whole reenactment of, walking through what they, let's just say on the scenario that she did commit suicide, what are the steps she would have had to take? And they ran through the whole process. And obviously there's a question about the nautical knots and actually, the planning and thought and precision that would have to go through tying the knots a certain way, then unhooking them so that she could then do her legs, and then the noose around her neck, and then put her hands around her back, and then slip her hands back into the knots, all that sort of thing. I personally just don't see it feasible, and then shove a T-shirt in her mouth. And then sort of shimmy her way across the bedroom floor onto the balcony, and then get her weight over the balcony. When the brother found her hanging, she wasn't that far off the ground, and he made a note that he ran to get this half-broken outside garden furniture table that only had 3 legs, and he had to jump on that to cut her down. but by doing that, he would have been way above her, and she would have he wouldn't have been able to hold her to get her down. So she would have dropped to the floor basically, and it would have made more sense for him to just, from a standing position, sort of hold her and cut the rope down. So many weird things. It just doesn't make sense. And obviously, in her family's religion, suicide is thought of to bring great shame on the person and the family, and that's why they fought so hard to clear her name of suicide, because that was just not something that they think she would ever have done.
Right.
So, there's also the thing of people saying, well, she must have known it was bad and she was feeling guilty. But, at the time of her death,
what about that crazy thing that was painted on there? Like, she saved him, can you save her or something?
Yeah. They actually had a handwriting expert come in, and I guess the conclusion was that it's very likely to be the brother's handwriting. They did a whole series of tests, looking at documents and things, and doing handwriting comparisons on some of the A's and the E's and the slants and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and quite a cryptic message in the third person to write.
Right. Yeah, that's really weird.
The other thing to note is that I feel her body was lowered from the balcony because there was no sort of friction or jolting, and the bed didn't move at all. When they did the reenactment, the bed jumped I can't remember the exact amount of feet, but it actually pulled right away from the wall because of the force. They'd actually put weight bags onto the rope, and sort of as if she was standing right at the balcony and sort of flopped over, the bed moved significantly away from the wall. And actually, the crime scene photos show the bed hasn't moved, not even 1 inch. So,
Bella, I just have to make a little announcement, because Jeff thinks I paid $725 for this. This is less than $12 on Vipon. Okay, this is not $7. I would never. Oh my gosh, you don't know me. If you think I would spend $725 on a sweatshirt like this with a cat on it, this was less than $12 on Vipon. Okay, go ahead, Bella.
Do they not know you at all?
They don't know me. Oh my goodness. That's the other channel. That's another channel. It's not this channel. Okay.
Yeah, so there's tons of inconsistencies. Obviously, the brother, I say the brother, I'm not saying the names, he's actually a tugboat captain. And in the trial, they've had people obviously practicing so that they can come in on the day and sort of tying the knots to convince the jury that it is possible. But when you actually watch, there is a reenactment footage on YouTube. I don't know if it was 2020 that did it. I can't remember. But it takes this criminologist student quite a bit of time to sit there and methodically tie everything and get everything in order and in place. So I'm just not buying it, is my point of view. Mm-hmm. There's obviously whole the knife situation as well.
Oh yeah, that thing, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. So, but is anything going on with it? I mean, like,
If you're
is
going
it
to commit suicide, why would
right? Why would she have no clothes
yeah.
on? Why would she
Um,
like? She knows she's going to be hanging out there. Like, why would she do it like that? Right?
that's it just screams to me on display and humiliation.
Right.
There's an argument. I don't want to be totally one-sided because that's my opinion. There is an argument for people have really looked into, naked suicides, and it is a thing. It does happen, but and some people say, well, maybe she felt so guilty and ashamed that she wanted to humiliate herself, etc., and be found in such a way. But her family and people that knew her.
That doesn't mean. Yeah, I don't think she would do that. Yeah.
I also think as a woman, it doesn't matter what you're going through, what size, what shape, whatever. It's the most humiliating thing to
Right,
do.
right. Nobody want. I don't think anybody. Right? It is Elton John's. It was that Marilyn was found in the nude. Right. Uh, Nobody want. I don't think it wants to be found that way. Right.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on your death, I mean, she's doing it enough that she's hanging from the outside of the house, which is kind of weird because most people do that inside the house if they do it. Right. They don't want to be on display. Yeah, there's a lot of things that just are really wacky with that whole thing being a suicide. I don't see how they could say. And then the rope, like, why would she have bound herself like that? Why? Because she was going to, somebody would say she's going to reach for the rope, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, I get, tying your hands so that you can't back out of it if you adamantly want to do that. But tying your feet up like that means you have to have like bended knees to like hop across, the bedroom floor and then onto the balcony. How do you actually then propel yourself when your feet are, close together, your knees are bent, to actually push your body weight over? Because all you've got really is the momentum, from your head and your stomach sort of thing. Yeah, it's very bizarre. Even when the boyfriend was told about her death, he was in the hospital, obviously at his son's bedside with his ex-wife. And while Rebecca and the ex-wife didn't exactly get on, and they didn't want Rebecca in the hospital at the same time as the ex-wife because, the situation was understandable. Even the ex-wife said, we absolutely do not blame her. It's not her fault. It was an accident. There was no ill will there. But when the ex-wife was like, oh my God, what happened? The boyfriend, obviously you did the reenactment of what he did, made stabbing motions.
Oh yeah, right. And he said honor killing, right?
Said honor killing. Why would that be the first thing that popped in his brain?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Instead of, oh my God, what? He straight away had an answer for what it was. So something's definitely weird. And I'm sorry, his brother is very, when he sits in the courtroom or he gives outside the court interviews, he's got this brazen sort of arrogance and contentment sort of attitude towards the whole thing, as opposed to, oh wow, this is such a tragedy, I'm so sorry for her family, she must have gone through hell, or, this must have sent her over the edge. There's no sort of, because what I gathered, they got on quite well. And I've always wondered if he was actually a bit jealous and had a thing for her. But yeah, it's maybe he tried something with her, and I don't know, just speculating. But something's a little bit off.
Oh yeah.
At the time of the son's accident, her sister was actually staying with them for a couple of weeks for vacation.
Right, not the sister that's in that documentary. It was the other sister, right?
the sister, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, as soon as the accident happened, she was giving CPR and on the phone to 911, etc., and screaming the house down. And she did make the comment that, oh, the ex-wife's going to kill me. But I think that's kind of normal because, I don't think that's a weird comment.
Right, yeah.
Responsible,
Yeah.
the child's in your care and
Yeah.
something really awful has just happened
Sure,
and you're like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Right, yeah. Of course, yeah. I think you could even say the boyfriend is going to kill her.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, that either one wouldn't be, a lot of people I could say, you could say, want to kill her, right? Or this, they're going to say you weren't watching the child. And that whole accident is just crazy.
Well, that's a whole nother thing in itself is, could go on for hours about this, but, riding like a razor scooter on thick pile carpeting.
Wait, so that's the thing that's so weird about this because in the documentary, when they showed the carpeting, it looked filthy. And I'm like, was the real carpeting really that filthy? It looked really gross. In the documentary I saw on ID Discovery. And
I don't know which one I've watched that maybe you've watched or I haven't watched because I've seen a few. It was just like a dark cream sort of.
Yeah, and this one had it looked like really like dark, like just like really stained. First of all, I wouldn't even imagine that they would have carpeting like that in the foyer area. Are you saying there was carpeting in the upstairs hallway as well?
Yeah, it was the upstairs sort of. Obviously, the stairs were carpeted, and then the landing. It was like a landing with a balcony and then stairs going down the side, and then the chandelier was hanging from that roof but lower down. So the chandelier wasn't sort of at landing level necessarily, it was slightly lower. And if you look at, the son's height and the height of the actual balcony and the bruising and marks on his back were almost like a T shape.
Mm-hmm.
So they were also saying, you've got to build up some amount of speed.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have an upstairs very similar to that. We don't have carpeting. It's wood, hardwood. And my kids have done a lot of crazy things on that. Like I've said, like have put their bedspreads down in the landing and then just keep jumping off one step and the other. I've had them that they've climbed around on the outside of the balcony and it's 24 feet up. I took a video and I saw this. Okay. I was like, what the heck? Yeah. Just some crazy, crazy stuff. And a lot of kids doing that kind of stuff. Okay. And they get to right? They do a lot of crazy things when mom's taking a shower or something, right? Okay. But
when you're young.
Yeah. And you've seen it on YouTube, like these people, some of them like they go down a straight staircase. Like we have a split one, so it's like a half. But I've seen Facebook and stuff where they're jumping from like the top of a flight of stairs all the way to the bottom onto blankets. So yeah, kids are crazy. But a razor scooter, like I can't put that one. Like how that came in the house. How it went upstairs, how he was flying around the upstairs hallway like that. And then, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. When you look at the two things separately, the two tragedies and the cases separately, I don't buy that he was racing down the hallway and propelled by accident or, the dog came running or he hit a ball or something that was in his path and propelled himself, managed to swing back and forth on the chandelier and then fall backwards against the other spindles or whatever you want to call it, and then land on the ground. It feels like when you look at it, he must have, I don't know which wording to use because it's all speculation, but he's clearly been slammed in some capacity or shoved against the actual railing because of the bruising on his back.
Yeah. And if it was carpet, he couldn't even go that. The Razor scooter wouldn't even. I don't know. That's so. The whole thing is they must have paid someone off like big time not to be investigated.
Well, this is the thing, like, obviously they're so loaded. The boyfriend, like, owns a pharmaceutical company and is very wealthy. They live, in the Sprinkles mansion and whatnot. But
Right.
even, his son's hands were in pristine condition. There was no bruising or scratches or anything. So them saying that he was propelled and then swung from the chandelier, which is basically, glass and sharp. And, if you're frantically grabbing onto something, surely there's going to be at least scratches or something.
Yeah, and the chandelier fall. Okay, and that's another thing, right? That chandelier falling from that little boy, it should be anchored way better than he would grab that and the whole thing would come flying down with him.
Exactly, yeah. It's all so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And obviously, in that time, once he went to the hospital, obviously vacation over kind of thing. So she dropped her sister off at the airport to go home. She put her dog into sort of like doggy daycare, and then was racing back and forth to pick up friends and relatives from the airport so that they could go visit at the hospital. So she was running around sort of, what seemed like keen to help, keen to be there, keen to support in any way she could. Obviously, when any accident happens, even though it's no one's fault, you will always feel guilty and responsible and all that sort of thing. But I didn't get the feeling from the recounts, from what people were saying in witness testimony, that she was, pushed over the edge or depressed or had a history of that sort of behavior. So both cases are extremely bizarre. And I think because hers is so bizarre, it sort of takes away from the son's accident really being properly investigated. But I think after the dust has settled, his biological mother has been sort of angling for more answers and further investigations into that.
But she never filed any kind of a civil case, right?
Not officially yet, as far as I know. She's been on some interviews discussing it, especially around the time of the civil suit. But I've not heard much since then. But yeah, she said she would never think that her husband or his brother would have anything to do with her murder, or but obviously you're going to potentially stick up for.
Yeah, that's another thing. Laura says something too. They're so wealthy. Why didn't they have a nanny for that boy?
Well, I think what happened is I don't think he lived like full time with them. I think he was literally just visiting because he didn't have full custody. They had like shared custody. So he was just there for, I don't know whether it was a few days or a week or so. And, Rebecca got on really well with them and looked after them really well. So I don't think there was ever any concern or issue there with them being in the house or visiting. It was just something they did kind of commonly, I think.
Mm-hmm. But why would he? Why would he anyway leave him with the girlfriend? How? That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. If I was his mother, I'd be like, what the heck did you leave him? Alone with, especially if that's his visitation time.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he be there? That's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the circumstances why he wasn't at home. he maybe had to like pop to the office or go do a few hours or something. It didn't strike me as there was anything weird on that day in their, daily routine. And the fact of, they'd been together for years and were quite happy, and I think, they were a trusted couple for the son to be left with. So I don't think there was anything weird around that. But yeah, when you piece it all together, it's very bizarre, all these little snippets.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I don't know. So many things are so bizarre there. He was. Where was the younger sister was taking the shower?
Yeah, and I think
so. Where was she? Where was she supposed to be?
She came running from downstairs when she heard like the crash and everything. So she could have been in the kitchen or in the living room, or you don't know exactly. They didn't give details of that. But everyone's sort of honing in on the 911 call when the brother was given CPR. He was delaying in giving the address. He was like, he was saying to the 911 dispatcher, like breathing heavily and all that sort of thing. People were saying it sounded a bit forced and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And when she said, what's your address there? And he's like, I don't know. It was where you came yesterday to pick up that little boy. And it's like, that's his nephew.
Right, yeah.
Just the wording he was using.
Right,
and also,
yeah.
How can you not know the address of, or at least say the Spreckles mansion or something to that effect? It's almost like he was delaying telling them where they were. He had to go look it up and then call them back. And he said verbatim, he's like, I got a girl here. I've got a girl here hung herself in the guest room, in the guest house. And actually the guest house was way away from the main house balcony,
right,
where she was found. And she never really set foot in the guest house.
Wasn't he staying in there?
Yes, he was staying there. So people are saying he's put himself sort of indirectly, potentially in the crime scene, sort of something must have gone on in the guest house the night before. And because he said he hadn't slept all night, despite popping an Ambien, he was still thinking that yesterday was the same day. So,
right, and he took a lie detector. It was inconclusive, right?
Yeah, inconclusive. So these are all the things we don't know. We don't know who administered the lie detector test, because it could have been any company, that they did privately, or we don't know if it was the police. Don't really know what his attorney had to do with it. I just find it bizarre. The first person on the scene, apart from the ambulance and whatnot, is their attorney, their family lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, weird. And I don't know, just very strange that there's not. I mean, there's not. I did, there is stuff on the case, because I think you said that, like, even on Reddit,
yeah.
So they had like a lot of stuff on the case. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people don't know about it, I think, or forgot about it maybe. You know what? I was just talking. This is so funny. I was talking to someone who's an attorney. He didn't know the Chris Watts case.
It's weird. You think
he did not know. He made excuses. He made a lot of excuses for not knowing it. He made a lot of, he's like, oh, there's just so many. And I'm like, yeah, there's so many, but this one was pretty sensational. It's like worldwide. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, maybe I could have just forgotten it. But, he had no idea. And even when I, tried to, elaborate on it with him because he kept saying maybe he didn't forget it. He had no idea.
Oh,
Zero.
wow. You do wonder when you get engrossed in something how other people have never heard of it.
Right. And he was a criminal attorney. Saying he didn't know. And I was like, oh my gosh.
No, it is bizarre. It is bizarre. I was, when I was getting into this sort of case, like it was like a rabbit hole. And at the same time, it was looking at the disappearance. Was it Kathleen Peterson? I may have got her name wrong.
Oh yeah, with with Michael Peterson, with the stairs, the owl, and the blowpoke.
So watching all of that, and only like what's it now, a year or so later, when everyone in the chat was talking about the jinx, I'm like, the name sounds familiar, but this must be another person with the same name.
Robert Dunst.
Oh,
Robert
yeah,
Durst.
Oh, Durst, yeah.
Yeah.
Durst.
I just heard something.
Catherine Durst, yeah. I was like, oh my God, you think you're looking at one story, but the same person's involved in like 3 or 4 bizarre cases in itself. So chilling and creepy, like I just cannot get over it.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of weird things going on. But that case, it seems so anticlimactic, like it's just like unfinished, right? It's something's more there, and it's.
I think the family have been more hell-bent. Obviously, they want to know who did it, and they have a gut feel who did it. And people were like, oh, they only got $800 or something thousand in a settlement, whatever, and that was all, handled outside of the courts and blah, blah, blah. But for them, they weren't sort of after the money. They wanted to clear her name of suicide because of the shame and the, it went against all of their beliefs and their religion and all that sort of stuff. And that's the main thing they wanted to clear. But I wonder if we'll ever get any more answers on anything, or, if that's it now. It's really frustrating, actually, because a blind Sally could see that something is off,
A blind Sally?
Yeah.
That must be an expression over there across the pond, right?
Blind Sally could see.
Blind Sally.
Hopefully there's no blind Sallys in chat. I don't want to offend anybody.
No, well, yeah, I don't think we have any Sallys in here, but are Sallys usually blind? Oh my gosh, he's probably looking it up now. Maybe I doubt it. I think he's got a lot of other things to prepare for. But yeah, I was surprised. Lucky string broke when you try. Lucky string broke. But yeah, and what other cases are you following?
Oh.
Have you watched any good true crime stuff on Netflix or something recently?
Recently, no, because I tend to binge watch everything and get overexcited. We've got a lot of high profile, and again, it's one of these things like us living in the UK would be like, you guys have never heard of X and Y, like we just can't believe it because it's been so, high profile, etc., and international.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of UK cases that, even though they've been solved, I'm always still intrigued to know what's behind the mind that did something like that. So it's not a case of trying to figure out who did what. It's more the why, and looking at sort of interviews and life stories, etc., and how they actually got away with that. So there's a few sort of serial killers and whatnot that I always follow and catch up on.
I always follow.
Yeah. Well, the thing, you find yourself rewatching and rewatching and rewatching. There's a girl that went missing here in the UK, Charlene Downs.
Mm-hmm.
And that just seemed to be at the time, media were playing a huge role in that. And where they used to hang out, Blackpool, I guess you could liken it to, I'm trying to think, somewhere in the States. I guess like a Coney Island kind of vibe with, all the rides and the shops and the takeaway shops and
right.
games, all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her friends used to go hang out there on Friday nights and all that sort of stuff, and she disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And from them, I think not a whole lot was done at the time. This was years ago. And when they started looking into it recently, someone did a documentary of it years later and was interviewing like key people at the time. And it sort of opened up a whole new web of almost like sex trafficking trade that was going on in the area at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And actually that her parents had a known sex offender staying with them at the time. So while the attention years ago was on this group of people that were a bit like untoward and suspect and, older men who owned kebab shops hanging around with young girls, giving them free burgers and cigarettes and things, and then going around the back and God knows what happened.
Right.
This documentary brought to light that her parents are not the shining morning parents missing their little girl, that they could have had or been enabling something that went towards her going missing. But again, that was earlier this year and not much more has come out since then.
Mm-hmm.
But they've not shown themselves in a good light. They used to go around to the pub and drink all night and then let all these, don't know what the right word to use is, like a nasty men come and stay in their house for days on end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a freeloader?
Yeah, a bit of a freeloader and whatnot. Not a great environment when you have a young daughter.
Right. What else do they call those besides freeloaders? They call them
couch surfers.
No, there's like with I think it's a B. Oh, I can't think of it now. No, they probably know in the chat. It'll come to me later.
Yeah, so there's lots of that going on. Obviously, we've got our cases like Myra Hindley and Ian Brady, Fred and Rose West. Those, I think, will never die because they're so shocking. They're so utterly shocking to think what they got away with. And unfortunately, every day there seems to be more and more and more cases involving children. I think some people think, why all of a sudden this year are we hearing about all these cases? But it just feels like it's been happening since records began, type of thing. As long as we've got sick individuals, it's going to continue happening, really, which is really sad.
Yeah, definitely. Though, somebody was just saying that now the serial killers, right, with all the technology, that they can't get away with it anymore. Because who just said somebody just said it here, to just do a study if Ted Bundy could get away with what Ted Bundy got away with now?
Yeah.
With all the cameras and all of that stuff. It was J Bells?
I think J Bells mentioned that because back in the day you could have your nice little family set up and then you could go out and enact these horrific crimes and get it out of your system, and then go back to your nice happy family, your wife and kids. Whereas nowadays, because there are cameras absolutely everywhere,
Right.
and all your movements are basically tracked through GPS on your phone,
Right.
people as well are more vigilant to these types of things, that it's actually not really feasible, I guess, unless you're a demented maniac who doesn't care about getting caught. You don't have that outlet to go do it in secret, off in the middle of the night type thing. And maybe that's why it potentially gets too much and they end up becoming family annihilators. Who knows? That's sort of the question mark there.
Okay. And somebody said moochers. They're all trying to guess the word. I think it was moochers that I was thinking about. Yeah.
Parasite? That's my favorite word.
No, but it's like, what about Bob? Remember Bob came to stay with those people, this psychiatrist, and never left, right? What about Bob? Yeah.
I always think what's happened to Richard Dreyfuss. He was hilarious.
Yeah, right.
And also Down and Out in Beverly Hills, he just went absolutely demented with like rage and frustration.
All right. Oh my gosh, yeah. So no, but I was reading. What was I reading? Oh yeah, you watched the Mindhunter series? Did you watch that?
Yes, I have, and I've read the book.
Killer Across the Table or Mindhunter?
Yeah, Mindhunter. I've read, and Killer Across the Table I have.
Okay.
I was waiting for book club, but I've read the Joan D'Alessandro chapter, and then I sort of put it on hold.
No, we are going to get back to that, but just I was looking at it today because I had to sit here in front of the computer. I couldn't touch the computer while it was doing this stupid upload because it was, I don't know, something was wrong with it. So I was into the Joan D'Alessandro stuff myself, and and I was just reading about when I had just watched Mindhunter about Kemper, right? So he talks about him here. Now Kemper's one that I never really followed. I mean, so I did learn about it in the Mindhunter, and then saw here. But the one thing that I have to say in here that I found very interesting, and maybe perhaps I'm reading this wrong, but I don't think so. He's talking about Joan D'Alessandro and how she was murdered and she was strangled. And he says, let me see here, something that does not make sense to me. Where is it? Okay. So I concluded the cause of death was strangulation and that the severe blow on the head, he's saying this is like JonBenet Ramsey, and this is why he believes the parents could never have done this to JonBenet, the same way that he doesn't think parent could have done this to Joan. So because they not only strangled the child, but then they gave her a blow on the head, it was almost like an attempt to make sure she was deceased, right? So they say the scientific evidence suggested something highly significant from a behavioral perspective. No parent, now listen to this, no parent without a history of extreme child abuse could possibly and systematically strangle that child to death over a period of several minutes. Who did that? Twice.
Oh, yeah. Mr. C.
Right. So I would like to hear, I almost want to write to him and ask, well,
So I guess, does he physical abuse or mental abuse or both?
It just says a history of extreme. And then it says, it just doesn't happen. He says it just doesn't happen. Taken together with all the other forensic and behavioral evidence, this did not tell us who killed JonBenet, but it told us who did not kill her. either of her parents.
That's interesting.
Who said that? The John Douglas, the mind hunter, said that, who profiles criminals.
It's so interesting because not in an excitable, happy way interesting, but
Right.
but you really go, oh my God, like I wish we had more answers and more family history. The act itself, the tragedy itself, does not answer the questions. And I wonder if we'll ever get to know that insight. And if we hear something, will we actually believe it? That's actually, that historically what happened or didn't happen in his life growing up.
Mm-hmm. And Jay Bell says, yeah, it's inaccurate in my opinion, but John Douglas is an old school behavioral profiler. He got a lot of flack for saying that too. Group, Eric?
Do you know what's interesting as well? There is a interview with, and I don't remember her name, so forgive me, one of the first officers on the scene at John Bonet's house. Before they even found her body, they were searching the house, made a comment that some things stuck out to her like immediately. The first thing she said was to the dad and, the mom, I want you to search the house from top to bottom. Don't move anything or touch anything, but shout if you see something out of place. The dad went straight to the basement in the dark and screamed out before the lights were even on or anyone else, could get there. And he came up the stairs carrying John Bonet.
Mm-hmm.
And she and him both knelt beside her, and she said in that moment her blood ran cold.
Right.
Couldn't look her in the eye, and at that moment she's like, oh my God, we've potentially got a killer in this house still, we're in danger. And she said she just had the most god-awful feeling. In that split second she knew. Obviously, that's a gut feel, it's not evidence. But, to me, intuition speaks a lot as well. I'm not convinced that there wasn't abuse going on, and potentially he could have been abused as a child. We don't know the history.
Right, yeah. Also, the smiley face. Smiley face killers? Oh, okay. Amanda Knox is another interesting. Oh yeah, how do you feel about Amanda Knox? Did you ever study that one?
Yeah, it was huge news over here. I was obviously Meredith Kircher, born and bred in the UK. Horrific, sad. I've been so on the fence with it. I can see the side that the media were whipped into a frenzy and were loving covering her and putting all these taglines like Foxy Noxy and making her to be this, sexual villain and whatnot. I don't agree necessarily with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I find the case so bizarre. Is it who she is as a person that comes off cold and, calculated and manipulative? Is that just her as a person, or does it mean she actually had some involvement with it?
Right.
I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence. Some days I'm convinced she had something to do with it, and other days, like, no, definitely not. So,
did they ever find anyone they didn't find anyone responsible for that, right?
Well,
Trying to remember that
one of the owners of the bar or someone that worked there had like fled the country shortly afterwards when they were still in prison. And it's all a bit, I don't think it's wrapped up in a neat little bow, all the evidence is there to absolutely 100% say who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's another bizarre one, and I wonder if we'll ever get answers. I think there's always an issue when there's a case that involves an English-speaking international person in Europe, when you're dealing with Portuguese police or Italian police or German or whatnot, because of the language barrier and the translations of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that has helped at all, even with Madeleine McCann. I don't think that's helped the situation either.
Oh yeah, that case. Well, what do you think happened? That's another one. What do you think happened there?
I don't believe her parents for 1 second. I think something happened in that villa. And I think there is a cover-up.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, I'm not naive enough to think that child trafficking doesn't go on. I know for a fact it happens and it does go on. However, I just feel all the circumstances, I just feel there's some sort of cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of cover-up happened. People like to moan about cadaver dogs and they're not reliable. I disagree. I tend to think, they're not exactly going to point to the person and go, he did it or she did it. But they alerted to something separately, both in the same areas. And yeah, I'm convinced something untoward happened in the villa. And there's a cover-up, really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I told you the crazy thing that I thought my mother told me. My mother had passed away at the time, and I really thought that was the craziest thing. My daughter, but that I thought my mother had said that she gave her too much like Benadryl or something, and they found her dead, and so they didn't want the other kids not to have parents, so they agreed together to cover this up.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think anything was done on purpose or maliciously or whatnot. I think some sort of accident happened, and obviously the twins are way too young to even know or remember or have seen anything, so they're sort of safe there. Do I think all the other couples and their friends are helping them cover up? Not necessarily. I think they maybe spun the story and the friends are thinking, she was taken and sort of hopped on the bandwagon and, believe the parents and are just sticking up for their friends. I don't think all 9 of them or whatever are covering this all up. But yeah, it's very, very bizarre, especially when you go back and, they had checked had any accidents or deaths happened in that apartment, like historically. Had anyone passed away? Was there any reason why someone would alert or the dogs would have alerted? And nothing like that had happened. And as I understand it, I might be wrong, because I was thinking in my head, well, what if someone cut their finger and then wiped it up? There'll always be some sort of residue there or whatnot.
Right, yeah.
But I think the cadaver smell only happens in death. It's not, fresh blood. I might be wrong. I don't know the ins and outs. But I find it bizarre, behind the couch, underneath the windowsill, that was where the dogs went mental. Also in the cupboard.
Right, yeah. But that's where that where that cat was found? That whatever
Yeah.
the thing she carried around?
Yeah, and she carried that 24/7. Also, the outfit the mother was wearing, they put all the clothes, even after she'd done laundry and everything, they'd laid all the items of clothing out into this big warehouse, and the dogs alerted to it there. All of the cars that were parked in this huge, like, warehouse parking garage, the dogs alerted to the boot or the trunk of the car they had. Again, it's all so bizarre. And I think what infuriates people, especially in the UK, is we have had cases of, children going missing here in the UK. And because they're not quite from, as privileged backgrounds, they don't have all this help from the government and all this money pouring in from fundraising and all that sort of thing to help. They're sort of left with, just whatever resources they can scrape together. And I think there's a bit of fury because not everyone believes their story, that they keep getting, thousands and millions like poured into finding Madeline, which is sad. Like, she should be found, and we do need answers. But everyone should get the same treatment. Every child is valuable. Every life is valuable. It doesn't matter what background you come from or your status. You should get the help and the resources, from the government, from the embassies. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's so many that just everybody's saying they were scratching their head over Madeline and John Bonet. And now there was a thing that came out, 3 weeks ago that said the photographer, has anything come out with that? The photographer of John Bonet, they thought something, but I don't even know. I mean, that they found some stuff on his computers.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but that half doesn't shock me. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that the photographer who's, working with an almost toddler pageant beauty queen will have tons of footage and photographs and whatnot. Her mother was there dressing her up to look like a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
so, and condoning all of that sort of behavior and entering her into competitions and things. So it wouldn't shock me that much that he has pictures of her.
Yeah, but I think it was more than just, I don't even know if it was her, but I don't think they were clothed, were they? I don't know. Weren't they like suspect?
No, yeah, that's interesting then.
Did anybody hear about that? About the photographer?
Looking in chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear too much about that, but yeah, obviously that's a bit concerning.
He was arrested for pedophile pics.
You know what, for me, these are huge lessons. Like, I know we don't and we potentially never will have all these answers to these horrific cases and these innocent children and people have lost their lives. But I think the lesson is really like watch, who are you hanging out with? Who is becoming close to your kids? Who sort of crossing some boundaries, but using the whole, just, love you guys and, great big happy family and being overly friendly and familiar with your family or your kids or your wife or your
Like
husband.
abducted in plain sight. Did you see that one?
Yes. Oh my God.
That was I'm sorry. That was so crazy.
Almost like farcical, but it's true.
It was after everything happened, and then he came back and said,
Yeah.
I need to sleep with her in her room for my therapy, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, people can say, oh, they were very sheltered and they didn't know.
Naive, very naive. Yeah. Come on.
When, people are naive and people are sheltered, but on the flip side, people can be absolute master manipulators. And even I consider myself someone, no one can pull the wool over my eyes, My first instinct is to take a step back and suss out a situation. But I have been screwed over and manipulated, and you just don't see it coming. So it really can happen to anyone, really. I think the whole, on another case, the Dear John, the Dear John case.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, oh boy.
Woman, I wanted to smash her head into a brick wall just to wake her up, because that is like blatantly obvious.
Oh my gosh!
What was going on there? I couldn't believe that, because I actually watched the documentary before I watched the Netflix original. She actually did a podcast on it.
Oh, I listened to the podcast first.
Yeah.
And then I saw the other stuff, but that was just so crazy. I remember listening to the podcast. I was telling everybody, because they were doing a lot of work on the house then, and that's when I had this channel. I was doing other things, and I was like, I guess I was telling people, like, they were coming for a different review, like, you have to watch this podcast on Dirty John, and no one listened to me, because nobody was into true crime at all that was watching.
I was the same, and then all my friends got into the Netflix one, saying how amazing it was. I'm like, no, you've got to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I told everybody that worked on the house about it. It's all I talked about when I came down. I told you can't believe this, because my daughter got me hooked on it, like from the get-go, like just the whole way it was told and everything. It just draws you right in from the first episode. But yeah, you just very like, really, Deborah?
But in a way, I can't imagine, because I've never actually been through this in my life. I'm only 38. There's still time, but I hopefully not, touch wood. Can you imagine, like, just plodding along with your life, happy families, you've got your job, you're cooking the dinner, and you go up into the attic one day and you find like hundreds of vials of drugs and, a gun in or whatever, something so bizarre.
Right. Oh, prison letters coming in.
That you feel like you're in a parallel universe, and you're like, I'd imagine you'd be so shocked that you'd actually be frozen and wouldn't know actually how to react or what to do next, whether to bring it up, to leave it for a while, to fear for your life, to, you would just be so stunned.
Yeah, but she was married like 8 times, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
been around the block. I've seen some things. This is not feeling right.
Right. Yeah. It's not that, she was so committed, like she couldn't give up, like she gave up on other ones, right? Apparently, unless they all left her. I don't know. But yeah, it was so bizarre, everything there.
But I also think as well that just shows what a hold, because the daughter, she basically almost lost her relationship with her daughter over it. So it makes me question what sort of person would actually do that as well. Like, she might need some help of her own.
And they were even going to therapy. She was going to, right, she had a therapist, she had a lot of money, she had a lot of resources. It wasn't that, and she was paying for everything, so it wasn't that she couldn't live on her own, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that he held that over her head. And then when she went to the safe deposit box and all the money was gone, and he gave her some crap excuse and she just bought it?
Yeah. It's just baffling. it does. It's like everyone's had a girlfriend or a guy friend or someone who's started dating someone and things are a little off, and you try to give a bit of advice or they come to you. But no matter what you say or do, they're going to go down that path anyway. But when does it become dangerous and when is it just not meant to be and a bit weird? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes something horrific and tragic has to happen before people go, oh yeah, we could tell something was off. It's like, thank you, Captain Obvious.
Right, yeah.
Why didn't you say something before? So yeah. Another good podcast I've been obsessed with the last few weeks is Kim Goldman. Kim Goldman's podcast. It is available on wherever you get your podcasts from, but they've also been releasing them on YouTube.
What is it about? Is it about the O.J. Simpson case, or she does different cases?
No, it's specifically on her brother and Nicole and the whole case at the time. Obviously, it was the 20th anniversary not that long ago. Beginning of July, June. And basically they're about an hour long, maybe over an hour each one. I think there's 9 or 10 of them, and each one has a theme. So she goes a bit into domestic violence. She talks to Nicole's old caseworker. And it's also to just bring awareness what was going on at the time for the case, people who are interested in the case, but also what can we learn from it? What are the best steps to help someone in that sort of situation? How can we improve the help and support of people going through domestic violence? She talks to people who are on the jury. Not in a confrontational way, just more of this was my experience sitting in the courtroom. What was it like for you as a juror? What did you think when you tried those gloves on? What swung it for you? What was your thinking when you made your decision? Would you change it knowing what you know now? And then obviously some of the attorneys, she talks to Marsha as well. And very, very interesting retrospectively hearing all their feedback and accounts. And they're very, very honest and, unedited. There's a couple of swears in there, but I think it's really so well done and interesting. I'd recommend anyone who's interested in the case to give it a listen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'll check it out. And I'm always looking for other things. Sometimes, it has to be told in a certain way, like the Serial. Yeah, it was my first one that my daughter got me hooked on. And then it was so funny because she really didn't have an end to it, right? And they made fun of it on Saturday Night Live that it was anticlimactic, right? There was like, what, is that the last episode? Well, I didn't know it was going to take off like this, right? But that was very funny. But that just the whole type of I hadn't even listened to a podcast before that one. Yeah. And I like to do I remember when I was painting the porch and stuff, I was listening to true crime podcasts because they're just great to listen to while you're working, right? So I try to find a good one that draws you in. It has to be a certain way that it's told, certain voices, certain, I just can't listen to anyone.
I'm the same. Yeah, when people, as I say this, I realize I do it as well because my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. So I'm clearly not cut out for podcasting. But it's helpful where, there's a beginning, middle, and an end, and it's clear and concise, and there's a timeline you can follow, series of sort of opening you up, the listener, to more and more and more of the story and not jumping back and forth. And I think you'll really enjoy it because she's not She's not confrontational and aggressive and all wound up. She's interested in hearing them, so she lets them speak. She doesn't interrupt anyone, and she doesn't walk on eggshells with her questions either. She gets quite down to the nitty-gritty. And again, a perfect one, cleaning the house or cooking the dinner, or just to have that one is really interesting.
Right. And the other one which is it was almost like serial. It was Someone Must Know Something, and it's out of Canada. But they did that one where, I don't know if you're in Canada, where that bomb was sent to this guy's house, and it was in a flashlight. Did you ever hear this one? And then the flashlight exploded after, like, the mother and the father and the son had played around with the flashlight, and then the husband was killed, and they were trying to find out who sent the flashlight bomb. But you get to it, right? And then he's like out of episodes. Like, he's like, I can't have any more episodes. I don't know. Like, so to me, it's like, oh, great. Okay. So, like, I'm all into this now. And now you're just like, that's it. You suspended at like episode 6 because there's nothing. Then he had another series that he had, and there was this little boy that went missing at this lake. We had a very large family in Canada, and they were like dredging. The cadaver dogs were coming. They thought they found him again on the lake. Again, that ended just like where it started. And then I think the only one he came to a conclusion on was like something down in Alabama where a black man was killed in a horrific way, and they finally put the pieces together on that one. And I think that's the only one that ever came to a completion. And so it was like, why? At least nothing. Yeah. You just stopped, like, abruptly, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like, obviously there'll be cases where, it's gone to trial, all the evidence is there, slam dunk, case closed, and then you go back for analysis of, behind the person and their history and whatnot, and that's interesting in itself. But I think when we don't have the answers, sometimes when you go down the rabbit hole and start investigating and reading up on it, you have an idea in your head of what probably happened, but that could like veer you way off course, and you end up finding out all this new information that leads you down a different path to when you're like, well, I don't know what I believe anymore because it could be one of 3 things, and then you sort of don't know where to go from there. And I feel a lot that's like, John Benet Ramsey and Meredith Kercher and Knox. You never feel like you've got the actual full story, even though the case is, technically closed and solved.
Definitely with John Benet. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with this photographer, but I feel like at least that case is not ever going to be solved. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the way it was all handled as well can open itself into conspiracy theories and all these scenarios and people speculating. And I don't think it helps the situation, because at the end of the day, if you're going to try someone, you have to have the facts. Police could think we've got our guy, but if there's not strong evidence, they risk losing the case and someone walking free from, a murder. And I think they don't want to do that. So for us watching, it's really frustrating. But I can also see, the method behind the madness, why they aren't doing certain things and taking their case to, to the judge and whatnot. So it's all, I can't imagine working in that field for real. I think I would have many sleepless nights and I'd be in therapy myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not good with the pictures, like the crime scene stuff. I'm okay with the analysis, the investigation, reading about it. I just the pictures. I don't want to see them.
I felt it was really nice. Nice is maybe not the right word. Considerate and appreciated that you read the article about, what Tammy Lee and Baumhauer went through, because I think a lot of us can forget. We assume anyone in any law enforcement officers or detectives or CSI people, we expect that they're programmed a separate way, they can shut off their emotions and just get on with it, and that's what makes them good at their job. And I think, yes, that is true, but we forget they're fathers, they're brothers, they're human beings, and it just shows, what empathy they have when these cases hit them like that. And it just shows that they do care about their work and the victims so much, and it must just eat away at them like day and night.
Oh yeah, I think Tammy showed that when they went for that February interview, and he said something like, "Oh, I feel bad for the people that were there," and she said something like, "We were there."
Yeah.
And he's, "Oh, you were?" Yeah, I think you could hear like she tried to temper it, but yeah, like, like thanks, for doing something like that. That's affected all these, and we had to go view this horrific thing because of what you did.
Yeah, completely. And I think this is where people are getting a bit up in arms of why they're laughing and joking with him. And I know it's a tactic, but it's disgusting. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine sitting across from someone like that when you've witnessed their horrific crimes? Horrific is not even a strong enough word, really. But to have to sit there and tactfully laugh and joke, and yeah, she was a bit controlling, wasn't she? Yeah, we've all been through that, and we know how you feel. And I would want to launch across the table. I would be the killer across the table.
Right, yeah.
I would launch across that table with my pen,
right.
And
oops.
I could do some damage. My hand slipped.
I fell into you. I'm sorry.
So the actual constraint and control, like I would be sitting there shaking with rage to just do who knows what. So I think that's even more commendable, that they can still sit there and do their jobs regardless of what they've seen and witnessed and heard, to try and get some closure and some answers for the families. And I just can't imagine it. Like my hats go, off to them, and my hearts go out to them, because it's utterly horrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have some friends who are in the police over here in the UK, and something as, in comparison, maybe it's not as gruesome and horrific, but just seeing someone, being run over by a bus or something like that, and they've had to go to the scene and corner it off and all that sort of stuff and deal with it. They've had to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
From that.
Yeah, my daughter, she works for one of the government agencies that handles transportation, and she will see the engineers that have been brought off trains that have hit people, and they are an absolute mess. Yeah. And they have to go into therapy. A lot of them can't even work anymore. I mean, it's just horrific. And they my daughter says that people vaporize, Mom. They vaporize.
Literally, yeah.
When she said, you can collect in a Ziploc sandwich bag what's left.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. It's horrific. Yeah.
The thing is, well, like also, I always feel we get quite a few what they call jumpers. I'm sure they do in New York as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I always think, I I feel sad that the person is in that place and feels that's the only option. But that aside, and I know they're not in a good headspace and they're not thinking of other people, and you wouldn't blame them for that. Clearly, I've had friends who sadly died of suicide. But when they choose to do it in such a way where it's going to impact other innocent people who they don't know, had nothing to do with anything, you know, like these train drivers, and you mentioned the engineers,
Right.
because of the expertise on the tracks and the live wires, etc. They didn't sign up for that. That's not, you know, that's not part and parcel of their job when they, you know, when they're doing their degrees and studying and getting their training. Obviously, I'm sure it's discussed, but there's no way you can prepare, you know, just a random human being off the street to witness and deal with something like that. So I always feel really, really sorry for them when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very, very hard, and you know, people, even when people fall, I mean, there's people that fall in there, and people are racing and racing to get them out, and you know, usually you see like good stories, but yeah, when it doesn't, it's horrific.
Yeah, totally horrific.
Yeah.
I think that's another lesson. I'm all about lessons. You know, we really have to look after each other. We have to make sure that our friends and our colleagues are okay, and be a shoulder and an ear for them to confide in. And if someone's having a bad day, you know, don't pile onto it. Just bite your tongue, even if you're frustrated with something. You know, just give them a bit of a break, some support, and even if they're not speaking with you and you know something's off, you know, sort of insert yourself there and almost tell them to make sure that they're doing okay, just to remind them that, you know, there are people around that care.
Yeah. Yeah, and because sometimes, like when you hear someone, right, you're like, oh my gosh, why did, you know, I can't believe it, right? They seem so happy, or they seem, you know, I didn't. And then there's this ones that, yeah, I mean, you know, there's something's going on, but you never know. I mean, I'm trying to think if there was somebody recently. I can't think of who it was. A lot of comedians too, right? Like Robin Williams and stuff.
That are, you know, overly happy all the time,
or tell jokes, or and funny. A lot of comedians do that out of depression. Yeah.
I think some of the time, you know, they're quite tortured and they're sort of saving grace.
And they can make people laugh, and
laugh, and also defense mechanism and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's when you're going through stuff, no matter how trivial it might seem to somebody else, or it might be a huge thing, you know, there are people who, oh, I don't want anyone feeling sorry for me, or I don't want to take time out of your day and have me moan at you all day about my problems and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, it all comes around full circle. There'll be times when you need it, and there'll be that shoulder for you. And I think as human beings, we need to lean on each other. We need to be there for each other, to try and avoid these sad situations from happening.
Right. Yeah. True. So I'm just looking at the comments here. Let me see. I was shocked at the new. Oh, Kate Spade. Yeah, Kate Spade is.
Yeah, that was so devastating.
Another one, right?
Just
right? You think people have it all, right? You probably thought, oh, well, she has everything, right? She has money, she has, you know, all this stuff, but you don't know what anyone is going through with everything that they have. It's, you know.
Exactly. Everything's relative to the person who's going through it.
Right. Yep. And
different people can handle different levels of stress, and some just cannot. Everyone's wired differently. Yeah, it's really sad, really tragic.
See, I'm reading what they're writing. They all think they all love your call.
Oh, thanks everyone. I'm just like mumbling.
They like your accent. What else?
My Mr. South African London accent.
Where were you born? In South Africa?
Yeah, I was born in South Africa and I moved to the UK when I was 17, and I'm 38 now, so more than half my life I've been here.
Your cousin's son. Oh, really? Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Wildlife. That can be a really stressful time, though, and people. That's another thing. They said my cousin's son killed himself, and his wife had just had a new baby. But I always thought, like, when people would say, "Oh, you have a newborn, like it should be wonderful," but a lot of times you're stressed out of your mind, and that's when you will find a lot of people really don't even ask for the help because they feel like something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
If they're not happy, right? And then they have postpartum depression, and they can't even talk about it.
Yeah. I've had a friend go through that. Sorry to hear that one.
Right? And I remember Brooke Shields, I remember reading her, I mean, she had terrible, terrible postpartum depression. And she, had tried so hard, and people didn't understand because she had gone through a lot to have those children, right? And so that it was more so like, what is wrong with you? But, it's something changes in the brain.
Yeah, it's really sad to witness actually because no one expects that, and I think because it's such a stigma and people are afraid to speak about it.
Right.
Those people who they feel their brain's telling them you should be happy. Look at all your other friends who have babies and have just had babies; they're all ecstatic. Why are you being so ungrateful and unhappy? And what is wrong with you? Like, snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it's something you can't control it or
you can't. No.
And I think as well, there are some people who are like, it's the most wonderful, joyous gift in the world, and being at one with nature and life and all that sort of stuff. But also maybe what would be helpful for new mothers is actually I had a bit of a crappy time of it, and I was really down and depressed. I didn't know what this was. You might want to be aware. You might have postpartum. Maybe go to the doctor. It's okay to talk about it. It's not all butterflies.
Right. And can I tell you something? When I had Ethan, that was my first baby after my parents had both died. It was a totally different experience for me, and so I didn't have my parents around. Jimmy was going back to work, and I was depressed.
Yeah.
Didn't have that with my others. Like, I always kept thinking, like, where's my mother? My mother was normally here. It was like crazy. And I remember this pregnancy group that we've still remained friends today. One of the women in there, she had 5 or 6 kids at the time.
Yeah.
And she was Mormon. I didn't even know it at the time, but I thought she was going to tell me, "Oh, you should just suck it up." You know what she told me? Because I said something like, I don't know what it is. I think I have to go. I just have some like thoughts, and it's weird. I don't feel normal. And she said, "Carolyn, when I had my first, I was pushing the baby carriage." And she said, I used to go past this bridge every morning. And I used to think every single morning as I did that, if I just rolled it right off, how long until it hit the bottom? And when she said that, because like I looked up to her like she was like super, like I was like, wow, my thought wasn't that bad. But yeah, it just like, but she was very raw and very, people will say, oh, that's my most favorite time. But if you have a baby that's not sleeping, if you don't have help, if you're not sleeping, you don't know what condition you're going to be in.
Exactly. And you can't foresee what might happen or how you might react because it's such a brand new thing.
Right. And you think something's wrong with you,
Going on in your life, yeah. And all it takes is, a couple of trips to the, I say all it takes, like you click your fingers and it'll go away, which is not true, but there is help and support out there, and it happens to more people than we realize. But there is this sort of, you should be happy and the family's so happy, and you don't want to sit in the corner in tears and whatnot, because people don't understand what you're going through, so you put on the lipstick and the smile and
and I know what was going on with me. It's like having had just lost both of my parents, like bam bam like that, right? What happened was I kept thinking I was going to lose everyone. I was going to lose, and that's where it stemmed from. I thought I was going to lose Jimmy, and I was going to lose everyone, maybe my other kids. And it just felt like out of control. And maybe I didn't want to get attacked. Like, kind of you distance yourself.
Too attached, but you're so fear of losing the attachment at the same time. It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah. So I've been, a lot of times a lot of people suffer thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible for having such thoughts or whatever, but yeah, it's.
But the thing is, that's real and that's raw, and it should be okay to talk about. I'm having these thoughts. I thought the other day, X, Y, and Z, and it's okay to have the thought. It's the following through with it.
Right.
That's the line, really. And I think just a bit of self-awareness. If you don't feel yourself or something's off, it's okay to seek help and speak to somebody about it, because 9 times out of 10, someone's been through it.
Yeah, that's like when I said, when this woman who I thought was just going to give me a lecture, like, what's right, when she said that about the baby carriage, and then she went on, like she has 8 kids now, but when she said, I can't even tell you, it was just, oh my gosh, Wendy said that? Okay, now I don't feel so bad.
So you're like, at least I didn't think that, but.
Right, because like if Wendy thought that, my thought is not so bad,
I'm not yet.
Right, because and it's very validating to have someone, especially someone you think is going to tell you something completely opposite.
Sometimes people have a way of surprising you.
Right.
I do think we can walk around and go, I'm one of those, I don't care what people think. Not that I'm not considerate of anything, but I live my life, and I do take people's opinions who I value and respect on board, and I'm always, looking within myself to improve or whatnot. But there is an inherent fear of being judged when you open up to people, and that can often stop you sharing your innermost thoughts. And
sure, because you say, oh, I feel like, oh my gosh, really? Oh, only someone like, whatever would be, only a depraved human being would feel that way.
Come out of my mouth at work, you must see my colleagues horrified. I'm like, I'm just kidding.
Right, yeah. Come on, did you see? Yeah, right.
I'm kind of not, but in my fantasy head, I'd love to do that. I'm definitely never going to do that, but I would just love it in a parallel universe too.
Yeah, all right. Oh my gosh, yeah, but people, I don't know. Some people just appear everything is perfect all the time, and they don't. And there are people like that, even though their lives aren't perfect, they think that they have to go through and make sure everything is perfect.
Yeah.
So,
I think we have to remind ourselves every day and every night there is always something to be grateful for, even if you're going through a bit of a hell.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Because sometimes we can focus on negative things, and that can overwhelm us and take over our lives. But when we just stop for a minute and we go, let me list all of the things, that I love about my life, or that are going well, and I have, wonderful friends, or I've got a job I really love, or, I'm able to pay my bills, or things like that. It's little things that can keep us going and keep us positive. And everything's temporary, right?
Right. And then sometimes, like, someone loses a job and they think it's the end of the world, but then they find out later that, they're brought to something that was greater, that it wouldn't happen if they had that other job.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, like the opportunity happens with chaos. You have chaos and then you have an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I do. And I think sometimes, like, some things you go through that you say, well, it gives you the opportunity. You may meet someone in getting a resolution to that changes your life in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. You can only see it in hindsight,
Right.
But then now it makes sense why all those things happened and why I went through this and that.
Right.
There's
Yes.
bigger meaning and purpose to things now. So you've just got to trust that is around the corner. It doesn't feel like it's just around the corner, but in my experience, in my life, that has always been the case. So you just got to breathe and get through the hours and the day as best you can and trust that the right thing's going to happen for you and not lose hope or, be in too much despair.
Right. Yep. Definitely true. Yeah, definitely true. I mean, you can see, like you said, you can see things in your own life in hindsight. And so have you always lived in New York? Lisa, she's asking Lisa H. Okay. When people don't know is when someone does a violent, the hazmat crew have to clean up the violent suicides. Yeah.
Even those cleaning companies.
Oh my gosh, my daughter took a picture of one of those cars outside, like, this place. She goes, Mom, this is just for you, because she knows how I am, right? Yeah. So she took a picture of the car that says, like, blood, hazardous waste, cleanup service, it was like wrapped, one of those wrapped cars. It's wrapped with the decal all around it, because you really like to see that pulling up to your apartment building or wherever, right?
Oh God, what the hell has happened?
Yeah, so she took a picture of that for me and, like, posted it to her Instagram, I don't know, a few months back. And I'm like, oh, that's lovely.
I'm not very squeamish, but I don't like visually at things. But for me, the smell, when I look at things, I imagine the smell that it must be in the room, and that starts making me feel sick. So it's not actually the visual, but my brain is telling me what it probably smells like, and straight away I just feel like absolutely sick to my stomach.
Oh yeah. I know what like a dead mouse smells like, and it's like,
that's bad enough.
Bad, right? Okay, and that's a little mouse.
The floorboard or something, and you can't get to it, or behind the fridge.
Right? Yeah, right. You're like, what is that smell? And it's like, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know there's the old Vicks vapor trick, but I don't know if that would help me in that situation. I think
putting it under your nose,
riding and telling my nose what to smell, despite the Vicks.
Or they put cologne on their shirt and they put their shirt over their mouth and nose, right? Or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's going to help in a situation like some of them. I mean, even on hoarders, they have situations like that where they can't breathe.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, where all the rubbish is piled up and... Yeah, a few things I cannot do, obviously like the smells, but, spiders I'm okay with, snakes I'm okay, maggots, I see a maggot literally jump out of my skin. It's so disgusting, I can't stand it, yeah.
Ugh, that's so gross. You smell your hair, I smell something strange. I smell my hair if I smell something strange. You smell your hair, Helen?
What shampoo is Helen using?
Gee, your hair smells terrific.
We need to get us some of that shampoo, Helen.
Yeah. There used to be a shampoo. It was, gee, your hair smells terrific. And then... And they go, no, because that was the whole commercial. Like, no, but your hair smells really good. Got a shampoo to you. Gee, your hair smells terrific. Yeah, it was a, It was a stupid thing. Yeah, it was in the 80s.
Yeah, the few things I cannot do, if I smell something strange, I can't stand it. Yeah.
Yeah. There used to be a shampoo. It was, gee, your hair smells terrific. And then they go, no, because that was the whole commercial. Like, no, but your hair smells really good. Got a shampoo to you. Gee, your hair smells terrific. Yeah, it was in the 80s. So yeah. Oh, you didn't see this, cowgirl? Yeah. See, I have the kitty there. It's on there. And Jeff thought I paid how much? $725 for this? Yeah. No, I didn't. I paid under $12 for it on Wi-Fi. Okay. Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm going to head off in a minute.
Okay. All right. Thanks for calling. It was a great call.
It was a
And
great call. Thanks for chatting and
yes.
covering my, not favorite case, but something I'm quite into and a bit obsessed with. And there's not a lot of people covering it, so I appreciate the work you put in.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you clued us in on a lot of stuff because I was confused on some things.
And I actually, before I go, I have a little tip for you. Just like a natural sort of energy booster for your electrolytes and things while you're feeling a bit drained.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got some Himalayan pink salt.
I do.
You do. So if you've got it in a grinder with the actual crystals.
Right.
If you've got crystals and you boil the kettle, just put like not quite a teaspoon in and let it dissolve and go to room temperature and sip on that throughout the day. Or if you need a bit of a boost, like more instantaneous, if you crush some into the palm of your hand and sort of press your tongue against it and let it dissolve on your tongue, that really helps just give a bit of just a little bit of an energy boost and
okay, I'll try that. All right. All right. All right. Thanks. I'll try that. Because I know someone said, if your blood pressure is really low, like mine was, they said put some salt under your tongue or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. If you've got like Himalayan pink salt, I don't know what that. I think it's more electrolyte kind of thing. That does really help. Just normal table salt is a bit.
Right. Yeah. I don't like salt, but I do have the Himalayan pink salt. I do have it.
Yeah, definitely try that just for a little bit of a pick me up. So yeah, but thanks for the chat, and I hope you feel better as get a good night's sleep and feel good tomorrow.
Right. Right.
Just a reminder that we all love you and appreciate you. And not to forget that when you're going through a bit of a crappy time, we'll support you and we're here for you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, everyone. Well, have a great evening or a great day if you're just waking up. And chat to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and there's just one other thing I want to mention from this book regarding someone we know about rage, right? When he said he was feeling rage. This is about Joan D'Alessandro's killer, which is the chemistry teacher. But when John was interviewing him, he said, I can feel two different kinds of rage. Red rage bothers me, but I can turn my head, focus, and control it. Like when someone cuts me off in traffic, or if I have a conflict at school. But white rage, I can't control. And is that when you were feeling when Joan came to your house? Yeah, he said, that's right. Our eyes were still locked. So he killed Joan while seized with white rage. The fact that he even had a name for it told me he had experienced it before, and most likely would again. But he didn't kill her right there at the front door, no matter what was raging within him. At that moment, a methodical plan had formed instantly in his mind as to how he was going to get her where he wanted her in order to be able to do what he wanted to do. I pointed this out to him. You're not a psychotic, even though you tried to show dissociation from the crime. What I see is pretty logical, rational behavior. He didn't argue with me. As for the psychiatric assertion that the killing was from the consequence of an additional upset and failure due to premature ejaculation, wrong again. The killing was the result of a combination of displaced rage, sexual excitement at his momentary power over another human being, and the very practical consideration of leaving no witness to what already was an unspeakable crime. He had admitted as much in his interview with Dr. Galen, who he said, "If I let her go, my whole life was gone. All I could think of was just to get rid of her." I wondered if anyone before me had ever taken the time to correlate all of McGowan's statements together, but I didn't minimize the killing as merely a practical consideration to avoid being identified and caught. This was not a question of simply going too far the way McGowan described it. I could tell that the gratification and emotional fulfillment of the act went through to the brutal murder itself and his ability to destroy something or someone. At that point, I asked him if I could have captured one video image of your face while you were doing this, what would it show me? Obligingly, his face contorted into what I would characterize as an intense, malevolently satisfied grimace. Okay. Even the way he described the body disposal was logical and methodical, as opposed to panicked or hurried. He got some towels and cleaning materials to wipe up the blood. He tried to get the potential for it. So what does this sound like? The white rage. He was methodical about it. He wasn't panicked. He wasn't hurried. He wrapped the body. He took it back. He cleaned up. He sounds very, very much like someone we know, right? I don't know. You would call it cold rage. See, and then later on it says, what became clear to me as he talked about the crime primarily as an act of rage, okay, and that's exactly what the other one does, an act of rage, that escalated quickly from red to white, was triggered by something, some precipitating event, though I wasn't sure at this point what it was. My guess, based on his living situation, his inability to see his engagement through to marriage, and my extensive knowledge of other sexual predators, was it had something to do with his mother. Still, it gnawed at me. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what had set him off. And then, wait, there's one other thing. When he's leaving, so this is where almost all of these guys go wrong. They can process other people only through their own self-centered emotional filters. It's always all about them, and they cannot comprehend that my true empathy for them is about equal to what they showed for their victims. As we concluded the interview, I shook McGowan's hand and thanked him for talking with me. I wished him good luck and tried to give him no indication of my personal feelings about him or my recommendations to the parole board. So, this is a really good book if you're looking for a book. And we will go back to a book club on it probably as soon as the kids go back to school. Or sooner. I think that he came on and was on Dr. Oz and was talking about these guys, and we talked about it before a lot. All of them usually have mother issues somewhere along the line, some type of mother issue. That some of them, most of them, have done things to animals. in their youth. They've been a lot of them bedwetters. And that's not to say that if somebody's a bedwetter, they're going to be. But there are issues. It's a good book if you're interested in like profiling and unlocking the secrets of serial killers and predators with the FBI's original Mindhunter. Born nothing to do with mothers. Yeah. But anyway, it's late. So I guess we'll stop here. If you need to go to sleep, if my ASMR video came out and the sound is there. Yeah, right, Robbie? What is the name? It's this name. The Killer Across the Table. John Douglas. Mark Olshaker. Okay. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks to the moderators. I'll see you guys soon. And all right, let me get us out. I've got to find. I can't see I've got so much stuff here. Okay, there we go.